So the next day comes. I come walking in. My parents don't know about any of this stuff. I come walking in and real sheepishly, and the bell rings for lunch. Oh, man. Here I go out on the playground, eat my lunch, I take my station, and there's no bullies. And this kid over on the playground walks up. He goes, "Hey, you're the new kid, right? You're that crazy guy, right?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, you chased," I still remember the guy's name, "you chased Brian clear across. That was awesome, man. Clear out of bounds. That was so cool." I was like, "It was?" And he goes, "Yeah, man." He slaps me on the back and he goes, "Hey, you want to come over here and, play ball with us?" I'm like, "Yeah." So what happened is this little seed drifted down and landed, and whoop, up came a little soft little branch, little leaf. But all of a sudden, that little lie was kind of won some stuff for me. It became really important to me. It gave me safety. My invisibility kept me safe. And when somebody got scary, I pushed the red button, and nuclear hamster comes out, right? And so I begin to love the fruit of the lie. It's important what I just told you. I hope you heard that. Okay, let's go forward a few years. I'm with my wife. We're just dating. We're in the car and we're driving. There's 100 examples. I'm just thinking of one. And some guy cuts me off. Some guy cuts me off on the road. And I go ballistic on this guy. I'm ready to climb out of the car and go to war. Over something that's dumb, right? I'm just like instant, hamster comes out of the car. My wife, she's sitting there next to me. She wasn't my wife yet. She's you kind of got an anger problem there, don't you? I'm all, "No. What do you mean? I'm fine. I'm picking the fruit." You get that? I run around and hide the fruit because all of a sudden, I'm at a different stage in my life. The fruit that used to help me is becoming unacceptable. It starts happening with my kids. Oh, my word. I'm reproducing this thing. I don't mean my kids were angry. I mean I'm demonstrating to my children the red button, which I, by the way, had a great tutor in my own father. So I was like passing it on to my children's children. Do you know that a righteous man leaves an inheritance to his children's children? Right? It's Proverbs. Do you know that we are always, all constantly leaving inheritance? And some of it is not good. So here I go. As I get older, my old things that I loved, rage and invisibility, I had to go somewhere. I couldn't just pick the fruit and hide it anymore. It was leaking out. You see, what's interesting is you will never outpick the fruitfulness of a tree in the Spirit. Are you with me? Why? It's in the Bible. Jesus said a good tree will not produce bad fruit, and a bad tree will not produce good fruit. I had to come to terms that, hey, if that fruit is something I can't let people see, my apple, rage, if that is bad fruit, that is a bad tree. I have to sever the root, even if I love the fruit. You understand? I'm ashamed of it, but I love it. Ugh. So, this begins my journey of a prosperous soul. Now, out there's books and a manual. They look like this on the front. Hopefully, we'll find out why before the end of the night, why there's a tree on the front. But I'll tell you what, they're all dedicated in the front. There's a little page, if I can find it. It says, for those fierce enough not to settle. For those, this book is, I've decided, is designed for those of us who are fierce enough not to settle for the fruit. And it came down to ferocity. It came down to ferocity because when you really love something, like my anger or my invisibility, when you give that kind of thing up to the Lord, you're left pretty vulnerable. You're pretty naked. See, all my tools for defending myself were gone. That's why they were there, right? The reason I was invisible is because, man, people hurt me. People are scary. They're mean. Remember my wife? When she says, I don't love you anymore? Oh, that really hurt. That really hurt. And so I'll just kind of go, I'll just invisibility. I'm a chameleon. I'll just cruise over here and bleed in bed and go to sleep. Oh. And if that didn't work, I always had my red button. If somebody came to me and attacked me or threatened me in any way, here comes the hamster. Don't mess with hamster. You'll be sorry you did. So, this idea of roots and the fruit that they produce, the idea that you can't just hide your fruit, you can't just pick it and try to stay ahead of the principle in Genesis when God engineered the planet for seeds to reproduce after their own kind. You're not going to break that rule. What you do is you have to remove the bad tree by the roots. You got to pull that thing right out. Even if you love it, you got to pull it out. You got to shake it, get all that soil out of there, and throw that thing on the tree, on the fire. But you never leave a void. You got to go back to that big hole in the ground, and you got to plant something back in it. What do you plant? Bible. The Word of God. You got to plant that stuff in there. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, because when you plant the Word of God, Genesis says that a seed will produce after its own kind. Isn't that something? This process of gardening our hearts is a prosperous soul. It's the process of ferocity. It's the process of being willing to sacrifice the things you really love. I'm not talking about, the house you lose in a bankruptcy. I'm not talking about, I'll just go there. I'm not talking about your children in a divorce. I'm not talking about that wife. If my wife had wandered and gone, which I know there's some of us in here that have done that, experienced that. I'm not talking about that kind of thing, which is terrible. I'm talking about the stuff inside that we love that protects us. We got to get ferocious. All right, 9:41. We go until 10 o'clock Sunday night. Is that right? Are we right? No, I'll be easy on you guys. I got a long drive ahead, so I will be leaving. But I'm provoking you to stick with me. I've got one more piece of this story I got to tell you. I'm going to try to be done by 10. I might need another extra 5 minutes. Is anyone here going to give me 5 more minutes? Raise your hand if you give me 5 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Awesome. We're good. Thank you. Yeah. So here's this idea. I need to establish this prosperous soul, this idea that, beloved, I pray that in all respects you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Do you get that verse says that you're going to prosper and be in good health they're going to flow out of something? A prospering soul. Did you know that in the Bible, the word prosper doesn't mean success? The difference between success and prosper are different. Like this. Success means to win. It means to cross the finish line, to achieve it. It, singular. Prosper means a good road. It means a lifetime of successes. You see that? It's like success is awesome, but prospering is awesomer. Right? It's the same, think of the verse, that you would prosper and be in good health. Man, you know, Bethel Church is a healing church. There's been prayer in here for healing. Healing is awesome. But what's more awesome than healing? Divine health. You get that? There's like beauty, and then there's super beauty. It doesn't diminish healing, like prospering doesn't diminish success. But there's something, again, better. So that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. The soul is what carries the capacity to prosper. The soul is what carries the capacity to live in good health. There's two ways I got to go here. But I'm going to stick to my script. Because actually I'm miles off, but it doesn't matter. I know this stuff by heart. One day, I was in my prayer time. And I go to a certain place. Doesn't matter where it is. But it's in this chapel. And I'm in this little chapel. And I'm talking to the Lord. Which means whining. Okay? Yeah. So I'm whining before the Lord. Whatever it is, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Boy, this is really hard to concentrate with. Used to be my girl. You know, oh well. I know. So I'll do this quick, because I'm wearing out. Dude, I'm an accountant. You know, we only have this many words. Do you know how many weeks I've been saving up my vocabulary for this night? So I'm in my prayer time, and I'm praying, and God walks me into this crazy vision. Literally, I mean, I saw it in front of me like I see these objects around me. I'm standing in the chapel, and all of a sudden, I'm in this massive hallway. In fact, it was about as wide as this room. But the walls were really high, and the floor was marble, like glass, like shiny glass. But it was marble, I think. And the walls were wood. They were wooden, and they were tall, like 4 times as tall as this room. Just, and there was not a soul around. I'm all by myself. And I look down the hall, and this hallway goes way down, like a 1/4 of a mile type thing. And then it turns. And about halfway down the hall is a massive door. This door is like, you know, a foot thick wood. And it's dark. And it's tall. It's like as tall as the wall. And the door is slightly open. And I look at this thing, and I'm listening. There is not a sound. I am completely by myself. And I look down, and in my hand I have a bucket. And in my other hand I have a broom. And I look at my clothes, and I'm wearing like this tunic thing that you would pull over yourself, and it was dirty. Like I was a cleaner. I was a janitor. Okay? And this thing was woven, and it was kind of an off-white color, bucket, broom, breathtaking hallway, and a door.